Korea, they're literally everywhere. Lunchboxes as a side dish called banchan, and even in kimbap. Little like tangly texture. If you cook it right, it's very chewy. Hey guys! Have you ever seen these glassy noodles called japchae? You may have seen them in Korean dramas or restaurants, and in Korea, they're literally everywhere, including holiday tables, lunchboxes, as a side dish called banchan, and even in kimbap. And as you can see, this is like a ton of noodles, but can you believe at first there were no noodles at all? So today we're gonna dive into this tangled, colorful, and surprisingly royal dish called japchae. So hang tight and let's go! So first, the word japchae literally means mixed veggies, and when it first started during the Joseon dynasty, it was literally stir-fried vegetables with no noodles at all. So think of like cucumber, bellflower roots, and beef stir-fried in soy sauce and sesame oil, and beautifully plated for a royal feast. And there's also this famous story in history where in the early 1600s, a court official named Lee Chung made this dish japchae for his king Gwanghae-gun. And the king loved it so much that he promoted Lee Chung on the spot. And his fellow court officials started teasing him as a japchae minister for getting promoted for just cooking this dish called japchae. And there is one little history behind why this japchae was served to the king. Because back then, it was even before Korea started using rice as their tax, and rather provinces would send tribute as a form of their local specialty. So one province would send beef, other would send mushroom, and we did mention this in other episode in Gokgam, and that Sangju province would send Gokgam as their tribute. So Lee Chung would combine these seasonal local specialties with some other ingredients they had and invented the dish japchae. How did this become a noodle dish? Now when you look at these noodles, right now it's like little brown because they're seasoned with soy sauce. But before you cook it, you will see it's clear, almost transparent, and that's because they're made of starch. And these starch noodles were first introduced to Korea by China. And by the 1930s and 40s, these glass noodles were so prevalent in Korea that even cookbooks started introducing japchae with the glass noodle version. And during the Japanese colonization, their cuisine were also kind of influencing this japchae. So Koreans would start using Japanese soy sauce instead of Korean traditional soy sauce, which is more sweet, and they started adding sugar, so it became this kind of sweet glass stir-fried with veggie instead of just stir-fried veggie. And that's how this japchae became everyday comfort food to Koreans from royal dish served to the kings. You would also have in a holiday feast called Chuseok. And now there are mainly two versions of how you make it. First is you would stir fry them all together. Second is you would cook each ingredient separately and then you mix them together in the bowl later. And now because of this visually abundant colors and this time-taking effort, they're also one of the typical dish you would see in Korean holidays, especially in Chuseok. This abundance in ingredients first symbolizes prosperity, and some people say because of its labor intensity, the family that makes japchae together will survive through the holiday. So when you see this japchae, you see a lot of veggies, and right now I see carrots like here, and onions, spinach, and these special mushrooms, and they're called mogi bosot in Korean. And mok uses traditional Korean form, and that means tree, and E stands for ear. So literal English translation, I believe, is also wood ear mushrooms. And now, let's talk about how japchae went global. In the 1960s and 70s, a lot of Korean females, even men, went to Germany to work, female as nurse and male as miners. People say that a lot of German people around then loved this dish called japchae. At first, they did share that this dish was too exotic for the Germans, but later on, they really liked the colors and they really liked how many veggies it had and all the textures from various vegetables and these chewy glassy noodles. And today, you can find them easily in Japan and America, as I know of. And when I went to Japan, japchae was served as banchan in Korean barbecue restaurants, or even izakaya as one of their, their culture where you have to pay for the seat without even ordering anything. Some izakayas would give japchae for that. And in the States, of course, the Korean barbecue has the same japchae for the banchan, but also I saw people ordering side dish of banchan and eating it like bibimbap, just like how Koreans do sometimes. And now let's also have this japchae together. Now, as I said, there's a lot of texture going on. I feel like the carrots and onions, you kind of get the idea because you probably would have tried them. But the spinach, it's very like, it's kind of rough. So it stays in your mouth while you finish up your bite. Probably your most curiosity here is the glass noodle. Little like tangly texture, but easily breaks through. If you cook it right, it's very chewy. And last, this woodier. This is also somewhere between this tangly texture with like a chewy texture, but it's thin. So it's a lot more tangly, but less chewy than the glass noodles. But this is also my favorite type of mushroom as well. It almost feels like eating the collagen itself, if you tried them. And because it has a lot of veggies and it's quite hard to make, it's also a very typical dish mothers would cook for their children for their birthday. Now, even the children who doesn't like veggies would love japchae, and I was the type of them. If you make japchae for once, it's hard to make just one portion, and that's also part of why we cook it in holidays to share it as a group. But what do you do with the leftover is that the glass noodles get dry really fast, so you can put it in the fridge, and when you reheat it, you can just simply pour water on it and put it in the microwave or stir fry it with some oil again. My favorite type of, I don't know how you say it, but like regenerating japchae is you put the japchae, you like almost mince it up, radish kimchi, 깍두기, and you make kimchi 볶음밥 with it. This is my favorite type of japchae food. So whenever my parents cook japchae for me for my birthday, I always ask them to make extra so I can eat that japchae 볶음밥 later. I feel like partly because I guess some people tried it a long time ago. You can think of it as like Asian style pasta. So, and in fact, I did see a lot of foreigners eating it with forks, just like a pasta. And I guess that's similar texture to pasta, and perhaps that's why they weren't too like against it at first. And when you eat it, you'll feel like all the savory and like the sweet and then the salty flavors are soaked in these glass noodles, and these veggies are just help to balance it. And so like the onion's natural sweetness and the carrot's texture, the woodier mushroom, they're all like balancing out the rich concentrated flavor stored in the noodles. So that's why you want to put right amount of veggies to make that perfect balance. Yeah, I also did try when you go to a Korean convenience store, you'll see japchae but in this cup of noodle form. It's from Otugi, and I did try them because for Koreans, Otugi is like the trusted company for making those kind of simple meals but also good. And I really did like it as well. I remember buying a whole bunch and putting it in a Ziploc so it's like less of a space when I go back to the States, and just eating it one by one whenever I felt like too lazy to make japchae. And when you go to a Korean convenience store, you might see other forms of japchae like japchae bibimbap and also japchae kimbap. And personally, I also really like that japchae kimbap as well. And if you like today's video about japchae and want to see more of such kind, please hang tight and wait for more. Thank you.